Hi everyone, my name is Jasmine, and this is part 3 of my Whole 30 Fabric Challenge recap. If you've seen parts 1 and 2, you already know my goals and the projects I started with, and if you're new here, welcome. Today I am breaking down what I've made since posting part 2, how much fabric I've actually used, and what this challenge is teaching me about my daily sewing habits. So let's talk about what I've sewn since my last update. First up, I made a two-piece set using the burnt orange rib knit that I showed in part two's video. The top is a turtleneck bodysuit made by adding a bodysuit bottom to Mimi G Styles Georgia turtleneck top. And the pattern for the skirt is a self-drafted A-line skirt. I just used a circle skirt calculator with a small slit up the front. For this project, I used about 2 yards of fabric. After that, I made a circle denim skirt for my niece. She had outgrown the one that she already had in her closet, so this was a quick replacement project, but it did take me off track from what I had initially planned, which was making a dress for her and making a dress for myself. That didn't happen. That skirt used about 1 yard of fabric. The next project was McCall's 79.99, and I used about 1 1/4 yards to complete that project. It was not a part of my original sewing plans at all, but I had a special event that I needed to attend, and I did not want to buy a new dress. So instead, I used a purple royal stretch velvet knit that I had in my stash, and that was gifted to me a few years ago, and it came together really well. I do have a full pattern review for this one on my website, so if you are interested in it, go check that out. Again, the link will be in the description box for that. The next project was New Look 6301, and I used 2 yards of punting knit that I purchased back in 2019 from an Etsy seller to make this one. I also have a full pattern review for this dress on my website, and I will be sure to put that link in my description box. After that, I made McCall 7429, which is actually my fourth version of this dress. I used a patchwork animal print ITY knit that I purchased from Style Maker Fabrics in 2020. And I purchased this fabric specifically for this pattern, so I was really excited to cut and sew this one. I don't have any photos of me wearing it yet because I haven't worn it out, which is why you're currently looking at a photo of it on my dress form. And lastly, I made several turtleneck dickies for my mother and my niece using my knit scraps. I have a full tutorial on drafting the pattern and sewing them that's available on my YouTube channel for anyone that's interested. But it was a really good way to just go through all of those knits that I always have, like large scraps that you can't do anything with in regards to making clothes, but it's far too large to throw away. So that was a good way to just go through that basket full of scraps that I had. And all of these projects together brought me to the 20-yard mark, which means I only have 10 more yards to go to complete this challenge. Okay, so before I go into what I have planned for this last segment of the challenge, I just want to talk about what I've learned for the last 10 yards that I've sewn, like personal lesson. Lately, I've been more intentional about setting aside small amounts of time for each of my hobbies. In the past, I would block off like an entire day for one activity, and that often meant other projects like sewing or woodworking would get pushed to the side longer than I planned, especially if something threw off my schedule for that week. Over the last few months, I've shifted my approach and started doing small, focused tasks each day that still move me toward my bigger goals. For example, on a sewing day, I might just spend 30 or 45 minutes cutting out the pattern pieces, and that's all I do for sewing that particular day. I don't pressure myself to finish anything, especially if I know that I have other tasks that I need to complete for my other hobbies like gardening. So that particular day, I might say, okay, 45 minutes in the sewing room, and then I'm going to spend an hour getting my seeds organized in my binder so that I can know what I need to have planted at the end of January for seed starting, right? And I've also started doing my meal planning at the beginning of the week, knowing ahead of time whether I'm cooking and what I'm cooking, especially since I'm at work, right? So when I get off work, I don't like trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing when I get home. So knowing ahead of time if I'm cooking, it just saves so much mental energy and it frees up more time for my creative projects. So I hope that this is a friendly reminder for you that progress doesn't have to be all or nothing. Small, consistent steps add up and they still count. Now, before I close out this video, I just want to share what I'm planning to sew next as I wrap up this challenge. So first, I am planning to make a dress for my niece using New Look 6714. And I'll be using a pink punty knit that I purchased from Joann a few years ago. I purchased it because I believe I wanted to use it to make a pair of high-waisted pants, and that never happened. I also plan on using that same fabric because it's about 3 yards of it to make myself a dress using McCall's 8174. Haven't decided which view that I'm going to go with just yet, but uh, it really will be determined off of how much fabric I have left over after I make my niece's dress. But I do have the pattern pieces cut for her dress already. I just need to cut the fabric and just take it one day at a time. I also really want to use the fabric I purchased from Joann when they released their Black History collection a few years ago. I really love this fabric. I love the print. I love this blue. This is a knit fabric as well, and I believe it may be like 3 yards, but if not three, then it's definitely two. I'm not sure what pattern I'm going to use this or use for this fabric, but um, I'll figure it out if I have time to get around to it. And lastly, I plan on making McCall's 8240. And to do that, I am going to use this fabric that has been in here for a while. It is actually a fleece knit from Hancock Fabric. The inside, you probably can't see it, but the inside is a fleece material. And then the outside is like really smooth. And I bought it the year that Hancock Fabric went out of business. So that should let you know how long it's been here. But I've cut into it before. I think I used it to make a top. So I think I may have purchased like 2.5 yards or something like that. And I still have quite a bit left over to do that sweater. Overall, this second 10 yards phase has just been a really good reminder that progress doesn't have to be perfect for it to be meaningful, and it doesn't have to be fast either, because it certainly was not fast for me. It took me almost a year to do 10 yards, so 10 yards of fabric. So if you're working through your own stash or creative goals, I hope this update encourages you to take it one step at a time. And I'll be sharing the final projects of this challenge and my lessons that I learned for this last 10 yards in the next update. Thank you so much for watching.